So we will start to begin our third practice. So welcome to practice number 3. This is our Anahata Alchemy practice, which is all about your heart chakra. So our intention for this practice is to open our hearts, unblock the heart chakra, and then create a sense of vulnerability, allow love, light, compassion in, but also then cultivate a sense of giving love, light, and compassion out at the same time as well. So if you do have a goddess box, what I would advise is putting your affirmation cards just out in front of you, and we're going to use those just in a short while. And then you can use either your pink howlite or your rose quartz, or you can use both if you want to. And then I would advise putting your rose water just to one side, and then when we finish our practice, I'll tell you how you can use that for the rest of your evening as well. So when everybody is ready, whether you're watching this back on the video or whether you're live, I'm going to invite you to come into your meditation posture. So as always, however you feel the most comfortable. So whether that's cross-legged and seated on the floor, if you want to sit on a block, you can even use a book if you don't have a block, or you can use a cushion. So whatever feels the best for you. Feel free to come up onto shins if you feel a little bit softer in your posture there as well. Because what I would like you to do is to create a posture where you don't feel like you're concentrating that much on the pain in your body that you're not letting yourself be fully absorbed in your meditation practice. Sometimes people feel more comfortable even just sitting with their feet out to the side. So I would rather you be fully engaged with what we're doing in meditation rather than battling and creating some resistance in your own body. So however you feel the most comfortable. So if you do have a piece of rose quartz or your pink howlite, or even if you have a green gemstone or a green crystal, that works perfectly fine as well. I'm going to ask you to place that within your right palm and just gently place your right palm on your knee. If you don't, and you're not using any of the crystals or gemstones tonight, you can just put your right hand onto your knee for me with your palm facing up so you're receptive. And then regardless of what you have using in your practice today, just placing the left hand across your heart center. Right palm open and receptive, or gently wrapping your fingers around that crystal or gemstone, the left hand covering Anahata chakra. And when you're ready, very gently closing your eyes. Just giving yourself a couple of seconds to ground into your practice this evening. Whatever's happened today, leave that in the past and leave that where it is. And whatever we're anticipating happening this evening or tomorrow, we're going to leave that in the future and leave that where that is too. See if you can press your tailbone down into the floor, ground yourself into your practice, plug yourself in. Travel all the way up through your spine, one vertebra at a time, lift up into your chest. Right up into sternum, create as much room to breathe as you possibly can. Chin parallel to floor, nose pulled in line with belly button, and lifting from the crown of your head. Starting to take full deep breaths, breathing in through your nose, filling into belly, filling into chest. And long deep breaths out through either the nose or the mouth, completely emptying the body. Bringing all of your awareness into the center of your chest, right in the middle of your heart. And just hold it there. Starting to visualize either green or a pink light right in the center of your chest. green or pink, whichever colour resonates with you the most today. And then start to let that light grow in brightness and send it all the way through your body. Green or pink sparkling light filling from head to toes. And then see if you can shift that light to the outside of your body, almost creating a little aura, a little bubble around your body. And whether we're sitting within that bubble of green light or whether we're sitting in a bubble of pink light, maybe even a combination of the two, letting yourself have a sense of safety and comfort. Knowing that that little aura, that little bubble has originated from the depths of your heart. As we inhale, start to draw the breath in through the right hand, through your quartz, through your howlite, or just receptive through your palm. Take that inhalation all the way up through the right arm, into the body, into your heart, and into your left hand. Inhalation, allowing us to be receptive to letting love in. Allowing love in towards ourselves. Receptive and allowing love in from those that we care about. Receptive and allowing love in from those that we don't even know. And even allowing love in from those who perhaps don't see us too favorably. Using the inhalation to be receptive, breathing in through the right hand, in through the right arm, into the chest, into the heart, and into the left hand. On your exhalation, gently letting that left palm press that breath back into the heart, back into the body, all the way back down the right arm, and then out through the right palm. This time allowing ourselves to give and provide love through that exhalation, through the left palm. Allowing ourselves to give that love back first to ourselves, giving and providing that love to those who we already know that we deeply care about. Giving and providing that love to people that we don't even know. And then sending out, giving and providing that love to even those who we perhaps don't see too favorably. Just stay with that cycle of breath. Receptive on your inhale, drawing your breath in through your right hand. Giving and sending that love back out on your exhale through the left hand. Just visualizing that pink or that green aura that we've sat ourselves within to become brighter and brighter. Completely powered by the center of us, our hearts. You're taking a big deep breath when you're ready in through your nose. Inhale. And exhaling out through your mouth. When you're ready, just gently opening your eyes. So for those of you that do have the goddess box and you do have your affirmation cards, I want you to take your time, just let yourself have a couple of seconds. And then whichever card you feel that you're most drawn to this evening, you feel is calling your name, I'm going to ask you to pick that card. Whatever affirmation that you have on there is going to be your affirmation for your practice today. If it's quite a long affirmation, just take a little part of it out, something that's going to be easier for you to remember, for you to be able to keep repeating to yourself. So if we're using quartz or we're using howlite, I'm going to ask you to bring your palms together and place your hands right in front of your heart center, in front of your chest. And if we don't, we can do the exact same thing. Just bring your palms together, place your hands in front of your chest. So for those of you that do have affirmation cards, I'm going to ask you to take full, deep diaphragmatic breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, and repeat your affirmations slowly 3 times. And if we don't have any affirmation cards with us, that's absolutely fine. We can repeat any affirmation that we please. So it might be something like, I love myself exactly as I am. Or love flows freely to me. It might be, I give love easily. Or it might even be something as simple as, I am love. Letting yourself take the time to repeat whichever affirmation you wish. I love myself exactly as I am. Or love flows freely to me. I give love easily. I am love. So we're going to use those affirmations throughout our practice today. So you can place your howlite or your pink quartz to one side. So our practice this evening is all about opening up through your chest. So we have quite a lot of back bends in our practice this evening. The best way to practice back bends is to let yourself come into that feeling of vulnerability. What you tend to find is the more you fight your postures, the harder they actually feel. So see if you can soften into your postures, let yourself feel a little bit vulnerable, and I promise you'll be okay. We've got lots of heart openers, lots of forward bends, everything that's going to nurture and nourish your heart center today. So wherever you are in your journey is absolutely fine. We're just going to have a deep sense of self-compassion regardless. So when you're ready, coming onto your hands and your feet for me, I'm going to go this way. Go this way today. So we're going to point your toes down towards the head end of your mat. Your hands are going to come to the foot end of your mat. Press down into your palms, press down into your feet. Inhale as you lift your hips, just coming into a reverse tabletop. So normally we'd press into the feet, engage your glutes and lift your hips. This evening I want you to practice pressing into your hands as much as you possibly can. Squeeze into your shoulder blades. Keep your chin tucked into chest for now. Inhale, see if you can go a tiny little bit further with your hips. Exhale and then gently lower your hips back down onto the ground. Straighten your feet out in front for me, flex into toes. Inhale. And then exhale, come into a very soft forward fold. So we're just warming up. If you feel quite rigid and restricted here, that's okay, just because your body's not warm yet. So take a little rock from side to side. So more of a vinyasa style of practice today. Have complete freedom in your movement. Whatever feels good for you is what feels good for you. Nobody knows your body better than you do. Listen to what your body's asking you for. Take a big deep breath in, lift with the crown of your head. Exhale, bring your hands back in line with your hips. So your fingertips can point either towards your toes, out to the sides like a seal, or even away from your body. Depends entirely on the articulation of your shoulder joint and the length of the bones in your arms as well. So I feel better with my fingers pointing down towards my toes, but have a little play around with your posture today. Whatever feels best for you is absolutely fine. Bend your knees, press down into the soles of your feet. Inhale and lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Squeeze into your glutes, tuck your tailbone underneath, engage your abdomen, keep your chin into your chest, and then press down into the palms of your hands to open through your heart, open through your chest. Inhale, see if you can go slightly higher, and then exhale, gently lower your hips back down, extend your feet out in front. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale and let yourself soften into a forward fold. So flexing your toes in towards your shins. This time, press into your right heel and make your right leg just slightly longer than your left, just by a couple of millimeters. Then shift and make the left leg slightly longer than the right. So almost as if we're in a downward facing dog where we walk it through, I'm going to ask you to walk through your forward fold. Just let your chin soften down towards your chest. We don't have to strain. A super soft little release on your lower back, release around your calves as well. And then bring yourself back into center, realign your heels. Inhale. As you exhale, reach the left hand across towards the right edge of your mat. Drop your chin down onto your chest. Good. And then walking yourself back through the center, torso facing forwards, north towards your toes. And then reach across the right hand to the left edge of your mat, chin tucked back into chest. Little release for lower back. Trying to cultivate a sense of self-compassion this evening, softness, kindness, forgiveness. If there's parts of the practice that you can't do, it's okay. Inhale, lead with the crown of your head. And then exhale when you bring torso back in line with the floor, feet out to the side super wide for me. So feet onto the outside edges of your mat. Pick your arms up and overhead. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your elbows down in towards your rib cage, cactus arms. So we're lifting up through your sternum, squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then take your hands behind your hips for me. Inhale. Press down into your palms, lift up through your chest, squeeze into shoulder blades, and slightly lifting your eye gaze so we're not completely straining your neck. Looking forwards, exhale, take a round through your spine, soften down into your chest, and let your palms face up towards the ceiling. And then feel free to rock yourself from side to side. Letting all that love and light into the body today. Back into center, and again, arms up and overhead, hands in prayer. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the elbows down in towards the rib cage. Squeeze through your shoulder blades, lift up through your sternum into cactus arms. Hands relaxed behind your hips. Inhale, press down into the floor, lift into your chest. Big deep breath in. And then exhale, round through your spine, chin tucked down. And this time, just letting your knees rock from side to side. With a lot of the postures that we're going to do today, you can take really big deep breaths because we're going to open the whole way through your chest cavity. All deep breaths today. So hopefully you're going to feel really good from all that oxygen that you've taken in. And then bringing yourself back into center, cross your feet over and come into cat pose. So we've got our shoulders stacked above our wrists, our hips stacked above our knees. Take a couple of seconds to find your neutral. So if you need to make some micro movements with your pelvis, feel free. Because whenever we say neutral, it means different things to different people. So your neutral may be completely different to mine. So feel free to have a couple of seconds to find what your neutral is. When you feel ready, take a big deep breath in, drop down into your belly, squeeze your shoulder blades together and look forwards. Great for opening the heart, cats and cows. Exhale, pull the belly button in towards the spine, round through your chest and tuck your chin down for me. Now I've got a good squeeze, little bit of compression on your heart. And again, inhale, dropping down into your belly, stretch through the tummy, eye gaze forwards. Dig down into the base of your palms and bring your shoulder blades as far back as possible. So we can take a really big deep breath in here. All that space between your ribs. Exhale and round through your spine. Tuck your chin down into your chest. Really strong press into base of palms. And whilst we're here in cat pose, I want you to imagine that you're pulling your thumbs together, but without letting your hands move. So keep your hands exactly where they are. Just create that sensation of bringing the thumbs towards one another, activating all the way through your chest. Come back into neutral, or your neutral. Inhale, come back into cat pose. So lifting up tall through your chest. We're then going to go into puppy pose from here. So as you exhale, slide your hands to the head end of your mat, but keep your hip in a straight line above your knee. So we're not going to press back like we would in child's pose. We're going to keep the hips high and then let the chest come down towards the ground. We can either rest the chin on the floor or you can go forehead down on the floor, whichever feels most comfortable for you. You want to go a little bit further, opening into your chest, rise up onto your fingertips, almost like little Spider-Man hands. Whilst you're there, see if you can take a big deep breath in. Oh, little release on the shoulders. Nice gentle back bend to start. And then sliding back up on your hands and coming back into cat pose. We're going to create some spinal rolls from here. Inhale, drop back down into your cow pose. As you exhale, we're going to round through your spine, come back all the way into a cat pose, and then inhale again, drop back down into cow, and then push yourself into child's pose, creating a little wave through your spine. So at the moment, we've got a cat, a cow, and a child's pose. So take a big deep breath in, and then exhale, round up through your spine, coming back up into cat. Inhale, drop back down into cow pose, lift your tailbone, shift your weight back, and then exhale into child. Big deep breath in child's pose. Inhale. And then exhale, round through your spine, chin tucked into chest, into cat. Inhale, drop down through your tummy, push your weight back, and exhale back into child's pose. One more breath together from here. Good. Inhale. And exhale, round through your spine, chin into chest. When you're ready, inhale, lift the tailbone, press into hands, and come back into child's pose. Just hold it there, big toes together, knees out to the sides. So depending on how you feel, just making sure we protect your lower back. So we've no need to go any further than we need to. Remember, we're always thinking about what your body wants, not what the ego wants. But this time, inhale. As you exhale, round through the spine, tuck the chin into the chest. So we're coming back up into cat pose. If you feel okay, instead of dropping into cow, you can inhale and come into a cobra or even an up dog. See how you feel. Shoulders rolled back regardless and pulled away from your ears. So we're never shortening into your neck. We always want some space from shoulders to ears. Exhale, push yourself back into child's pose. Mobility and wave through your spine. Inhale first. Last time, exhale, coming all the way up through cat. Inhale, either into cow. into cobra or up dog, and exhale all the way back into child's pose. And then hold that there, just breathe. See if you can breathe into the back of your heart whilst we rest here in child's pose. Perfect. Coming back up onto hands and knees. Inhale, tucking the toes underneath, and exhale, lifting the hips into downward facing dog, our first downward facing dog of our practice. So let's take a little bit of time just to make sure we're set up in the right place. So our hands are shoulder distance apart. Spread your fingers out. And then just like we did in cat, I want you to imagine you're pulling your thumbs towards one another, but without letting your arms move. Keep that activation through your chest. If at any time you need to catch your breath, come back down into child's pose. Chin tucked into chest, taking your eye gaze towards your knees. Your feet are hip distance apart. Slight turning of toes this evening just to help bring some freedom to your lower back. And then this is something that I work on quite a lot with everybody in class, but I would much rather you concentrate on lifting your tailbone, creating a super flat back, elongated spine, and some length in your hamstrings by placing a little bend in your knees and lifting your bum as high as it will go, rather than just forcing your heels down for the sake of them being down and then creating that big round through your back. Think about your spine first. So pressing into hands, big deep breaths. Now when you're in downward facing dog, complete chest opener, complete heart opener. So we can actually take a really full deep breath here. Big deep breath in. Any movements you want to add in here into your downward facing dog, whether it's a walk through your heels, feel free. Little bend in your knees and then a straighten, whatever you think your body needs this evening. And then drop down onto your knees, come back into cat pose, walk your hands in towards your body, and then lift yourself up onto your hips. Up onto your shins. So we're going to do a little salutation on the floor. Now, before we begin, hands into heart center and just pulling your pelvis into neutral. So if you are like me and you have quite a deep anterior tilt in your pelvis, I want you to tuck your tailbone underneath before we begin. If you're the opposite way and you're in a posterior tilt, same thing, bring yourself in your version of neutral. We want a nice straight line from knee to hip and then to shoulder, straight line down the body. As you inhale, push your hips forward. So we're not going to lean back. We're going to push your hips forwards. Engage your glutes, so squeeze your bum. That's going to help you to push your hips further towards the head end of your mat. Keep your hands in heart center and then squeeze your shoulder blades together, chin looking up towards the ceiling, eye gaze up towards the ceiling too. So really gentle back bend. If you feel like you can go further, you can take your arms up and overhead. But I really want you to think about your lower back and how that feels for you. Inhale. And then exhale, hands back into heart center and just catching your breath. Take a step forward with the right foot and coming into your crescent lunge. If you need to physically pick your foot up, that's absolutely fine. Doesn't matter how we get there as long as we get there. And then when we're in crescent lunge, we want a straight line from your ankle to your knee and then ideally from your knee to your hip. So we have a nice 90 degrees angle here. Press down into the sole of your foot at the front, the back foot either flat or your toes tucked underneath, whichever feels best. Revisit that pull underneath neutral spine, neutral pelvis. We're going to tuck your pelvis under here to open through your back hip. And then inhale, take your arms up and overhead, eye gaze to base of thumbs. So we do have the potential to turn this crescent lunge into a really deep back bend, but that's not where we're going to go this evening. Really subtle with how we're going to open through your heart. So think about that squeeze in your shoulder blades. Think about that lift up from the top of your rib cage. Imagine you've got a light in your heart, pink or green light. And I want you to imagine you're shining that light forwards and then up towards the ceiling. If you want to come further, take your arms a little bit higher over the top of your head, a little bit higher over the middle line of your body. So then we've got a straight line from palms, shoulders, hips, and then down into knees. Inhale. As you exhale, let your hands fall to the floor, frame your foot. We've got the left on the left side, right hand on the right side. Keep the left palm down. Inhale to low twist. Right arm reaches to ceiling. The deeper we press down into that bottom hand, the more we'll rotate and open through your chest. If you want to come further, top hand to wrap around the back of your head, and then pull that elbow as high up towards the ceiling as we can. And if we want to go further still, we can kick the left heel in towards the body at the back, and pull the foot in, pull the heel in to open through the quad. Whichever option we're choosing is absolutely fine. All worthy, all important, all have a purpose. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Turning back to head end of the mat, frame your foot, shift your hips back, and come into Ardha Hanumanasana or half split. So this front heel, push it towards the head end of your mat. This front hip, pull it back. So we're creating some length down the back leg. Toes pulled in towards your shin, and trying to keep a straight line in the back knee to the hip. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, see if you can gently lower, drawing the nose down towards the knee. Just see where it feels best. Really deep lengthen of your hamstring, but a nice deep compression of your chest. Good. Inhale and shift your weight forwards. Come back into low lunge. As you exhale, right knee to meet where the left knee is. We're going to come to a low plank. Inhaling at the top. Exhale, elbows in towards the body, and slowly lower yourself down onto your mat. Baby cobra, elbows pulled in, shoulders roll back. Inhale. So we're creating this back bend here by squeezing into the muscles at the top of the back rather than engaging the muscles at the bottom. Exhale, give yourself a push and come back into downward facing dog. Strong press down into palms, lifting through the hips. 5 big deep breaths in downward facing dog. Now what I would like you to be conscious of in downward facing dog today, even though we're coming into heart openers, trying to open through the chest, is not to hyperextend through your elbows and through your shoulders. We want to create a nice straight line all the way from your wrist, all the way to your shoulder, and all the way to your hip. So sometimes, if we're pressing too deeply in downward facing dog, imagine you're breathing into the back of your rib cage. You're like a little triangle. Inhale. As you exhale, drop back down onto your knees. Walk your hands in towards your shins. Take your arms up and overhead. And then revisit that pink or green light right in the center of your chest. And finish in our first salutation. Beautiful. Ready to repeat that on the opposite side. Pelvis back into neutral. Inhale, pushing the hips forwards first, squeezing into glutes, and then squeezing into shoulder blades to open the chest. Arms either stay where they are in front of the heart or reaching up and overhead. Inhaling first, exhaling hands back into heart center, just breathe. Lifting the left knee this time, big step forward into crescent lunge. Ready to repeat that on the opposite side. 90 degrees in the front knee. Inhale, arms up and overhead, eye gaze to base of thumbs. Pelvis pulled underneath. And then a really strong press down into the left foot, the foot at the front of your mat. Press down through the 4 corners. Yourself grounded and stable. If you want to go further, squeeze your shoulder blades, take your arms higher over the top of your head. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips down to the ground, framing the front foot. Right hand down to the floor, left arm reaching to ceiling, inhaling into low twist. Squeeze into your left shoulder blade. That's going to help to rotate the chest as well. Strong press down into right palm. If we want to go further, bringing the left hand, the top hand, around to the back of your head, and then pulling the elbow as far across the body as we possibly can, as high up to the ceiling as we possibly can. If we want to find more length in the back leg, kick the back heel in towards the body, take hold of the ankle or the top of the foot, And gently draw it in towards the back of the body. Again, whichever option we're choosing, absolutely fine. Maybe taking this opportunity to repeat whatever affirmation we have for our practice this evening, whether it's an affirmation on one of our cards, or just one of the affirmations that we started the practice with. I am love. And then turning back to the head end of your mat, inhale. Exhale, shifting the hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana. Push the left heel forwards and then pull the left hip back. Create some length down the back of that leg. Softening around the back of your knee. Inhale. Slightly lifting the chest. Exhale, lower yourself down. Bring your chin in towards your chest, nose in towards your kneecap. Just taking some time to breathe into the back leg, really deep lengthen. So regardless of where we are in our practice today, being self-compassionate. Inhale, bring your weight forwards, back into lunge. Exhale into a low plank. Hands underneath shoulders, hips forward, engaging your abdomen. Inhale at the top, exhale gently lower, elbows tucked into ribs. Inhale into baby cobra, shoulders rolled back, squeeze into the top of your body. Exhale, give yourself a push and come back into downward facing dog. So allowing ourselves, giving ourselves the opportunity to have a transmutative journey today. Let yourself transform. Movements you want to add in within your downward facing dog, feel free. Hips lifted as high as they'll go. Breathe into the center of your chest. Drop down onto your shins, walk your hands in towards your knees. Arms back up and overhead. Inhale. All that energy, bringing it back in towards your chest. Let yourself be receptive. Pull all of that light and love back in. And finishing our salutation off from there. Perfect. By all means, get yourself a little drink if you feel like you need to have a little drink. And then I'm going to show you what we're doing next. So we're going to stay exactly where we are this time. So in our salutation we've just done, we pushed your hips forwards and stayed where we were. This time we're going to come into a little sweep. Pushing your hips forwards to start, so making sure your pelvis is in neutral. We'll inhale, exhale, open through your chest. And then we're going to start to shift your hips back. See if we can get them in line with your heels at the back and hold that there. The main thing here I want you to concentrate on is keeping that tuck underneath of your pelvis. So we're protecting your lower back. Engage through your glutes and squeeze your bum. And then we're going to create some really deep length down your quads from here. From the front, I want you to make sure that your hips are in line with your knees. So we've not got the knees out to the side. Nice straight line, hip down to knee. So when you feel ready, bring your hands out in front, palms together. Inhale. Pull your pelvis underneath. Engage your glutes. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. As you exhale, bring the right arm as far out to the back as you possibly can. Eye gaze to follow your thumb. And then see if you can shift your weight back. Hips over, stacked over the top of your heels, and just hold that there. Reaching into both sets of fingertips, tummy pulled in. Belly button pulled to spine, pelvis pulled underneath, engaging your glutes. Into center, bring your palms together. Inhale. Exhale this time, left arm reaches back, eye gaze to thumbs. Same thing here, let the hips shift as far back as you possibly can. Good, back into center, inhale. Might get a little bit of fire in your quads. Exhale, reaching the right arm back, eye gaze to base of thumbs, and then see if you can reach, lean a little bit further this time, that tuck underneath of your pelvis. Holding that there. Good, into center, inhale. Palms together, exhale, then reaching left hand back, eye gaze to track, follow the fingertips. And then pulling your weight as far back as you possibly can. See if you can go a little bit further this time. Ooh, into center, inhale, palms together, hands back into heart, and sit yourself down onto your heels, catch your breath. So if that created a little bit of fire down your quads, don't worry, that is okay. So bringing your hands down towards the floor for me. Tiny, teeny little movement, this one, but has a lot of power in there. As you inhale, pull your pelvis underneath. You're tucking the tailbone right underneath. It's a tiny, teeny little movement. So we're looking to get a straight line this time from your knee all the way up through your body. Nice diagonal line. We're not going to turn this into a camel, so we're not creating any tension on your lower back. So please don't feel like you need to come into a back bend from here. I want you to concentrate on tucking that pelvis underneath. Look down towards your belly button, chin tucked into your chest. That's going to help you create that round through your spine. We're always trying to shorten the gap between your forehead and your pubic bone as well. And then what I want you to notice, if on this posture, as you've started to lift your hips, if your knees have slid out to the sides, try and keep them close together. Squeeze your inner thighs together. If you feel like you need to come out of the posture, just exhale as you gently lower your hips, catch your breath at the bottom, and then re-tuck yourself back underneath. Inhale, pulling your pelvis back underneath. Make sure your shoulders are away from your head. So again, we've not sunk in your upper body. Nice straight line from your hand to your shoulder and just holding that there. And then gently lower yourself back down. So protecting your lower back. We're creating as much length around your hips and around your quads as much as possible. What you tend to find is if people have really bad lower back pain, often it's coming from the hip and often it's coming from the quad. It's very rare that it's actually coming from your core. Might be coming from pelvic floor, but very rarely your core. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, your hands are going to reach behind your head to the opposite shoulder. So you're making a little cross across the top of your back. Still making sure the tailbone points down towards the floor. We're going to keep spine in neutral, so pelvis neutral. Tummy nice and soft. Lift up through your heart center. See if you can keep your chin in line with the floor. If you've had to really round through your spine, I want you to release that grip a little bit and concentrate on the open of your chest. See if you can take a big, deep breath in here. Nose in line with belly button, exactly like we do in meditation. And if we need that little bit of support, just mentally repeating our affirmation, grounding you back into your practice, grounding us back into our intentions. Letting the heart feel open, letting yourself feel a little bit vulnerable for all that love to come in. Can't let love in unless we feel soft. Rigidity and hardness is what blocks that love and light from coming in. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, cross them back over, swap your hands over. So now with the opposite hand underneath, the opposite hand over the top. When we work on opening through your chest, we take a little bit of time to give some attention to chest and shoulders as well. Same thing here. Have you naturally shifted your pelvis? See if you can bring it back into neutral, tailbone pointing down. Lifting up through heart center, and as you breathe, I want you to see if you can flare your ribs out to the sides as much as possible. Good, arms up and overhead. Inhale, hands into heart center. And we're going to go into forward fold from here. So take a little tuck underneath of your toes. Lift your hips. Walk your hands in towards the tips of your toes. Let the forehead come down towards the ground. Tailbone lifted. Feet are hip distance apart. Turn your toes in ever so slightly. Again, let's bring some freedom around your lower back. We never address things in isolation. Everything works together in different patterns, different connections, different relationships. Who would have thought to work on heart openers, we actually lengthen your quads as well? So letting the whole of your upper body feel as soft as you possibly can. Opportunity to decompress through your spine. Perhaps taking your hand to the opposite elbow, letting your body hang forwards. sense of protection around your heart. Seeing if we can soften the body around the heart this time. And the person that it needs protecting from the most is ourselves. Opportunity today to soften around your heart. Getting ourselves out of our own way. Take a big deep breath in, come into a half lift. Your tailbone pressing back, crown of your head pulling forward. If you feel like you can get a flat back a little bit easier with your hands on your shins, feel free. Exhale, come back into forward fold, tailbone lifting, crown of the head down. Lengthen the back of the body. Softness in the face. And then walking your hands forwards, we're going to walk ourselves into a plank pose from here. Keeping your wrists directly underneath your shoulders, straight line in the body if we can. If a full plank is a little bit too tricky, you can come into half plank and drop your knees down to the floor for me. Hold that there, big deep breaths. And as we did before in cat, as we did in downward facing dog, I want you to imagine you're drawing your thumbs towards one another. Activate through your chest. Bring some blood flow, bring some life into your upper body. Squeeze your thumbs together. Perhaps using the affirmation, I am doing my best. That's a great affirmation of self-love. And then shift your weight to the left-hand side, the left palm to stay down, the right hand to reach up to the ceiling. If we need an option or an alternative, we can drop the left foot onto the floor. We can either come into a half side plank or a full side. If we're in a half side plank, slide the right foot across your mat, reach and lift your right arm all the way up and overhead. See if you can bring your hips square up to the ceiling, open through your chest, tuck your bum underneath and give yourself a big push into half a wild thing. If we're in a full side plank, step the right foot across the back of your mat. Same thing here, reach the right arm all the way up and overhead. See if you can get your chest to face up towards the ceiling, your hips to face up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Wild thing, one of my favorite postures. Good, inhale. Exhale and lower your hips. And then everybody bring yourself back into center and back into a full plank pose. Good, breathe and hold it there. That little protective aura around your body. And then drop down onto your knees and come back into cat pose. Perfect. Inhale, take your right arm all the way up and overhead. We're going to make a big circle from here. Open your chest, look up towards the right hand, reach all the way to the ceiling, all the way to the bottom of your mat, towards your feet, and then down towards the floor. Inhale. Imagine you've got a big piece of chalk and you're drawing as big a circle as you possibly can. Keep it super, super slow. Let your shoulder go into that full range of motion. One more breath. Inhale. Reach as far forward as you can, as high up as you can, as far back as you can, and let that arm come all the way back and over the top of your head. So arm to run past your ear. Inhale and extend your left leg out into a bird dog. We're going to flex the left foot, squeeze into your glutes. Now from here, we can either drop down almost as if we're in a cow pose, little arch through your lower back from there. If you do want to come a little bit further, kick your left heel, back heel in towards your body. The right hand is going to connect to the top of your foot. We're going to come to a half bow from here. Now, when you come into a bow pose, instead of pulling your leg in towards your body, you're going to push the top of your foot into your hand. The top of the foot presses into that right arm so that you straighten and extend the right arm out behind you. So choosing whichever option feels best, inhale. Strong press down into the left hand. Breathe in there. Big deep breath. Exhale, let your leg lower, let your hand come back underneath your shoulders, and give yourself a little push into child's pose, counter pose for the lower back. So again, whichever options you are choosing this evening are absolutely perfect. I love myself exactly as I am. I love myself whatever postures I am capable of doing. We're so quick and so easy to let that criticism and all that negativity in. So I really encourage you this evening to try and be as equally receptive to letting all that light, that acceptance, that celebration of yourself, that gratitude of all the things that your body can do, not all the things that it can't. Coming back into the center, inhale, tucking the toes back underneath and coming back into full plank pose, or by all means dropping into a half plank. If we're in half plank, make sure we keep your abdomen engaged by shifting your body weight forwards so that we've got a contraction through your lower abs and holding in your pelvic floor. Now, regardless of which version of plank you're in, as well as squeezing your thumbs together, I want you to imagine you're squeezing your inner thighs together as well. Let's unite sacral chakra whilst we're here, might as well. Inhale. As you exhale, roll into the right hand side this time, left arm reaching to ceiling, either into full plank or again dropping down onto that bottom knee. Keep your hips high regardless of which option you're choosing. Strong press into the bottom hand. And then letting the left foot come behind the back of the body. Everybody turning hips towards the ceiling, left arm reaching as high up over the top of the head as we possibly can. Breathe here. Self-affirm. Know that you're doing your best. Just taking that opportunity to open through your heart. Big deep breath. Good. Inhale, exhale, lower your hips. Come all the way back into a plank pose, holding it there just for a second. Feels nice to open the whole of the front of the body. Inhaling, exhaling, dropping back into cat pose. Giving yourself the opportunity to reset. Left arm reaches up and overhead in line with your ear. Eye gaze down towards the ground. And then inhale, open the body to the left. Left arm reaches to ceiling. Get that piece of chalk again, make that circle as big as you possibly can. Exhale as you come down towards the floor. Inhale, reaching up and overhead, as far out in front, as high up to the ceiling, as far back towards your toes, and then exhale back down towards the ground. One more breath from here. Inhale. Looking to take your shoulder in as deep a range of motion as we possibly can. Exhale, and coming back into cat pose. Into bird dog. Left arm reaches overhead again. Extending the right leg, flexing the toes down towards the ground. Feel free to come down as we would into a cow pose and just hold that there. That's absolutely fine. If you do want to come into a half bow, kicking the heel in towards the body, the left hand to reach to the top of the foot, and then press the foot into the hand. Inhale as you straighten your arm and lift your quad and your thigh bone up and off the floor. Squeeze into your left shoulder blade. Keep some strength and activation in your upper back. Big deep breath. Good. Inhale. Exhale, let the knee come back under the hip and back underneath the shoulder, and giving yourself a push back into child's pose. Perfect. Good. Coming through cat pose. Inhale. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Tailbone lifting as high as it will go. Little tiny steps and starting to walk into forward fold, this time to the head end of your mat. Let yourself take that flop. Inhale, half lift. Tailbone presses back, crown of the head reaching far to the head end of your mat, flat back. Exhale and let yourself lower back down. Bringing your hands onto your hips. Now, before we do anything else, press your feet down into the floor. So the more we activate the muscles in your legs as we start to come up towards the ceiling, the more we're going to protect your lower back. If we don't, it's your lower back that's going to pull all the weight of your upper body up. So press into the soles of your feet, activate the muscles of your legs. Lead with the crown of your head, inhale and lift your chest. Exhale when you get back to the top and just give yourself a little wiggle and a jiggle and a shake. And then we're going to come into a full salutation from here. We're going to add a warrior 1 pose in, a warrior 2 pose in. We're then going to windmill down, come into a standing split to wherever feels best. I'll then give you the option you can stay here if that feels good for you, or we're going to create a really strong base between the hand and the foot. So the further your hand and your foot are away from one another, the more you're going to feel stable in your balance. Of course, if you want to make it more challenging, you can shorten that gap here. We're then going to come into a half moon pose if we want to. If we still want to go further, we can take hold of the foot at the back and come into a posture called sugar cane. Completely up to you. Then we've got an option. We can either come down into a forward fold and just let ourselves flop from there, catch our breath. Or from here, either in half moon or sugar cane, we're going to come all the way down into a little pistol squat. Lots and lots of options. So again, meet yourself exactly wherever you're at, which is absolutely perfect. I love myself exactly as I am. And everything's going to be okay. So come onto the head end of your mat for me. We're going to start in mountain pose. Feet hip distance apart. So when we're coming to mountain pose again, straight line from your ankle to your knee, your hip, and then to your shoulder. So if you've got a natural tendency again to either stand in that anterior tilt of your pelvis or a posterior tilt, see if you can align all your joints. Tailbone pressed down, crown of the head tall. Let your right hand come out open to the ceiling, receptive. Left hand back across your chest, almost like a little teapot. Revisiting that cycle of breath that we started our practice with today, receptive on the inhale. As much love, as much light, compassion, forgiveness, empathy, gratitude, all of that to come in through the right hand, into your right arm, into your body, into your chest. And then let yourself send it back through the body with that left palm back into the heart. Back through your right arm and then out through the right palm. That little cycle of receptive to giving, mirrored by our inhale and our exhale. By all means, repeating whatever affirmation you have for your practice this evening. Perfect. Both hands across your chest. And then palms together. Inhale, reaching up towards the ceiling. By all means, push your hips forward, create a really gentle back bend. And then exhale back to standing. Take your hands to your lower back and bind them together for me. Knuckles pressed down towards the ground. Inhale and open your chest. As you exhale, take a big dive forwards, tuck your chin down in towards your chest. Let your arms come as far up over the top of your head as feels comfortable for you. So we're pressing the knuckles away from the body. If that's just not a possibility, not in your practice, just let your hands come down into forward fold. But wherever we are, big deep breath. Inhale. And then exhale, release the fingertips. Inhale into half lift. Step or jump and come into plank pose. Weight shifted forward. Inhaling at the top. Exhale and gently lower yourself down onto your mat. Big toes together, inner thighs together, elbows squeezed into the rib cage. Inhale into cobra, squeeze into the upper body, lift up into chest, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, lower the chest back down and come into downward facing dog. Take your right foot off the mat. Inhale. Step it through the hands on your exhale. Place your left heel down at the back. We're getting ready for Virabhadrasana Warrior One. Palms together, arms up and overhead. When we come into Warrior One, we want a nice deep bend in the front knee. Just make sure your knees are in line with your toes at the back. And then pull that left hip forward. So we're trying not to turn out onto the side too much. Square your hips to the head end of your mat. Tailbone pulled underneath. And then revisiting that lift up through your chest. Pull your heart center up towards the ceiling. Big deep breath. If we want to go further, take your hands to lower back, rebind them together. Inhale and roll your shoulders back. Draw your knuckles down the back leg. Holding it there, strong through the soles of your feet. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips to floor. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. Left foot off the mat, inhale. Step through your hands, exhale, right heel drops down at the back, ready for Virabhadrasana Warrior One. Press through the front foot. Inhale, lift your chest, arms overhead. Checking on the knee, checking on the back hip. And then your strength is coming from your front foot. Your anchor is coming from the back edge of your back foot. So little toe down, eye gaze to base of thumbs. Re-lifting up through your chest. By all means, if we want to go further, bind your hands to lower back, knuckles down. Big deep breath as you roll your shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, hands to frame the foot into downward facing dog. Bring your weight forwards into plank. Inhale as you do, going through vinyasa from here. Exhale, gently lower down onto your mat, elbows tucked into ribs. Inhale into cobra, so either baby cobra, full cobra, or by all means coming all the way up into up dog this time. Exhale, lift your hips back into downward facing dog. Take a look to the thumbs, inhale and bend your knees, and then exhale, either step walk or take a little jump and back into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale and lower, hands onto hips, press down through the soles of the feet. Lifting your chest all the way to standing. Exhale when you get there, give your legs a wiggle and a shake. And then arms up and overhead, inhale. And exhale, completing our salutation. So this time we're going to go through that warrior two into standing split and then potentially half moon and sugar cane if we wish. We'll see how you feel. Inhale, arms up and over. Big dive down this time. Open your arms out to the sides. Exhale, take a big flop, big dive forwards. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, take a step or a jump and come into plank pose. Through vinyasa, inhale. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, either cobra or by all means up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do the left foot first this time. Taking your left foot off the mat, step through your hands, and place the back heel down. Inhale, windmill the arms until they're parallel to the floor, ready for Virabhadrasana 2. When we come into Virabhadrasana 2, pull your pelvis underneath. Again, check on that front knee for me, make sure it's tracking over your toes. And again, strength is coming from the front foot, anchoring is coming from the back foot. Torso in the center. So if you've got a tendency to lean forwards, bring yourself back into the center. Super intentional with fingertips. Inhale. See if we can go further on the exhale. The more we bend this knee, the more we're going to open this hip. And then windmill your hands back down, frame your left foot. Shift your weight into the left foot. Really strong, powerful step. And lift your right toes up towards the ceiling into standing split. You can place a little bend into that left knee. That's going to help to keep with your stability. Press through the sole of the supporting leg. Imagine you pressing the floor away. Inhale. See if you can bring your torso closer in towards your leg on your exhale. So if we're wanting to come a little bit further, by all means stay there if that feels enough. Walk the left hand as far out away from your body as you possibly can, as much of a stable base. If we're coming into half moon, inhale and lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. If you feel like you're able to, take your eye gaze to follow your top hand as well. Normally when you teach half moon, you're taught to drop the foot and to keep your leg parallel to the floor. If you're in a class with me, take your arm and your leg to wherever feels best for you. If you do want to try sugarcane pose, kick your right heel, top leg, in towards your body, and then press the top of the foot into the hand. Inhale, opening through your hip. And then exhale, either into forward fold, let the right foot come underneath the right hip, or by all means keep going, come into a pistol squat and hold that there. Tricky little posture. By all means holding it in forward fold. If we have come down into this little pistol squat, inhale, and we'll meet everybody else in forward fold, just holding it there. Inhale into half. Exhale and lower. Good. Hands onto hips, pressing through the soles of the feet. Inhale all the way to standing. Arms up and overhead. And then exhale. Perfect. So we're going to repeat all of that on the opposite side. Tricky little salutation, so please don't worry if you feel like that's quite challenging. It's okay. We're just going to meet ourselves wherever we are in our practice. Arms up and overhead. Inhale. Big dive down. Exhale. Crown of the head down, engaging through your abdomen in your forward fold here. Inhale into half lift. Take a step or a jump and exhale into plank. Inhale at the top, exhale chaturanga. Inhale cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Give yourself the opportunity to reset in downward facing dog. Hands shoulder distance, feet hip distance, lifting the tailbone high. Big deep breaths. And what I might invite you to do this time through your salutation, bring that light back into your chest, that pink or green light, and we're going to follow the direction of it as we move through our salutation. Right foot off the mat, inhale. Step through your hands and exhale. Place the back heel down. Windmill your arms parallel to the floor. Inhale, Virabhadrasana Warrior 2, that light pointing to the left side of your mat. Also in the center, pressing through the sole of the front foot, little toe down of the back foot. Inhale, see if we can deepen our Virabhadrasana 2. Keeping that light out to the side of your mat. So if we were on a compass, we'd be pointing the heart west. Inhale. Windmill your hands to the head end of your mat. Frame your foot. That light's going to point down and in towards the body this time. Take a big, strong step into the right foot. Lift the left leg as high as it will go behind. Inhale, and then exhale. Bring the torso, bring the chest in towards your thigh bone. Please don't worry if you feel like this top leg's not very high. It's okay. What you're probably going to notice is you can feel that all the way down the back of this supporting leg. Keep a little bend in your knee if you wish, but press through the foot. Activate all the strong muscles that you already have in your leg. Keep the crown of your head down towards the floor. If you're coming into half moon, walk that right hand as far out as you possibly can. Create a strong, stable base. And then inhale, half moon, lifting the left hand up towards the ceiling, shining that light in your heart back out towards the side now. If sugar cane's in our practice, top foot, kick the heel in towards the body, place your hand around the top of your foot, press into your hand, inhale. Keeping the light shining out towards the side. Well done, everybody. Inhale. Exhale, either letting the left foot come underneath the left hip into forward fold, or by all means letting the left foot skim the floor, coming into that little pistol squat. Whichever option feels best. It's a tricky little posture. If we're in pistol squat, inhale, bring your hips back high and back into forward fold. Heart tucked in towards the body. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, take a step or a jump. Come into plank. Light pointing down towards the ground this time. Follow that light through your vinyasa. Inhale. Chaturanga, slowly lower down and exhale. Now I want you to lift that light as high up towards the ceiling as it will go. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Good. Exhale, lower your chest and come into cat pose this time. You'll take a round through your spine, tuck your chin down into your chest. Just a little counter pose. Come back through neutral. And then again, slowly lower yourself down onto your mat. So a couple of options for us here. We're either going to revisit a half bow, slight variation, and then if it's in our practice, we'll come into a full bow. So, keeping your left hand underneath your left shoulder, kick your left heel in towards your body. The right hand is going to reach across the back of your body, so you're creating a diagonal connection. You can either take hold of the sole of your foot or come onto the outside of your foot, whichever feels best. Keep your eye gaze down towards the ground. Tuck your pubic bone down into the floor and press that down and hold it there. So you might have noticed throughout the back bends this evening, we haven't been pulling the leg in towards the body. The foot has been pressing in towards the hand. You're going to straighten that arm. Inhale. See if you can lift your thigh off the floor. See if you can lift your chest off the floor. And then take your eye gaze to your knuckles. But making sure we keep pubic bone pressed down into the ground, belly button pressed down into the ground. If you feel okay, if you can come a little bit higher, hold it there. You can still breathe here. You don't need to hold your breath. Inhale. And then exhale, lower the thigh. Right hand under right shoulder, left foot back onto the floor. And then the opposite side. Right hand under right shoulder. Kick the right heel in towards the body this time. Release your left hand, diagonal connection across your back. Hand either on the inside or the outside of the foot. And then pressing the foot into the hand, inhale, lifting into chest, lifting into thigh, eye gaze to follow knuckles, but making sure the pubic bone stays pressed down into the floor. Belly button pressed into the floor. Good. Inhale. See if you can go a little bit higher. Exhale, release your thigh down to the ground. Foot to the floor, hand under shoulder. Give yourself a press, come into cat pose. This time bringing your knees together and taking your feet to the sides of your mat. Round through your spine, tuck your chin down into your chest and just shift your weight back slightly. So again, just a little bit of TLC on your lower back just in case we need it. Back into neutral, knees back underneath the hips, tucking the toes underneath. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Last time in downward facing dog. That light in your heart to shine between your knees now. Little bend of your knees, inhale, look to base of thumb, step, walk or take a jump, and back into forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flatten through your back. Exhale and lower. Hands to hips, inhale, lead with the crown of your head all the way to standing. Arms up and overhead, inhale. And exhale, pull all of that energy, all of that light, all of that love and back into heart center. Well done. So coming down onto the ground for me, take your time, bring yourself down onto the floor. By all means, get a little drink if you feel like you need to get a little drink. And then I'm going to bring you down onto your mat. Still keeping your feet extended out in front for me. Place your palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale and lift into your chest as you exhale. Take a little roll down through your vertebra one at a time. Pause when you get to your lower back. Hold it there. And then just let yourself relax. Come down onto the ground. Just a couple of restorative poses just to finish our practice. Bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a big hug. And normally I'd tell you to press your tailbone down into the ground, but before we do that this evening, you can lift your bum up and off the floor a little bit, especially if you feel like you just need a little bit of a release around the lower back. And then press your lower back down into the ground. Little circles, make a few circles going one way, and then just a couple of circles going the opposite way. Extend your legs, feet flat to the ceiling, hands either inside or outside of the feet. Drop your knees down in towards your rib cage, into hand. And again, feel free to keep that tailbone lifted slightly off the floor this evening, before you then let yourself flatten your back down towards the ground. Rock from side to side if that feels nice for you as well. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Feet down onto the ground, knees out to the sides into reclined butterfly, and just pause there. And then slowly extend your feet to the foot end of your mat, keeping the feet turned out. Palms of your hands down by your sides, facing up towards the ceiling. So whenever we're coming to Shavasana, we're creating a position in the body where we have as little activation, as little muscle activation as possible. Just closing your eyes. Pink or green aura surrounding your body, keeping you protected, keeping you safe. As we move through Shavasana, move through your relaxation this evening, see if you can make that light a little bit brighter. Any feelings of self-compassion, empathy, softness, any gratitude, any forgiveness. Letting all of those different feelings rest within your heart. Softening into the body any obvious bits of tension, just letting them go with your next exhale. maybe in the soles of your feet. Maybe around your hips, the lower back. Tummy to feel soft. Upper body to feel soft, shoulders and collarbones out to the side. Softness into the palms. Jaw to feel soft. Back of the head. Corners of the mouth and corners of your eyes. We're going to do a little loving kindness, a little metta relaxation today. Keeping your awareness in your heart center. Starting to cultivate a sense of love and kindness. And sending out that love and kindness right from our heart center. And first we're going to send that back to ourselves. Start to send yourself love. Start to send yourself kindness. Knowing it's exactly what you deserve. And mentally repeating the words, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, and may I be safe. Sending yourself love and kindness. And then bring within your mind's eye somebody that you know you love truly, you're deeply connected to. Somebody that you hold deep within your heart. Just visualize them in front of you. Start to send them love and kindness. And mentally repeating the words, may they be happy, may they be peaceful, may they be safe. And sending them love and kindness. And then bring to the forefront of your mind somebody that's neutral to you. Somebody that you don't particularly have a close relationship or an intimate relationship with. Somebody neutral. Maybe a neighbor. Maybe somebody that serves you at the supermarket. Or just somebody that maybe you've encountered today. Somebody completely neutral. And just visualize them in front of you. And starting to send them love and kindness. Send them love and kindness by mentally repeating the words. May they be happy, may they be peaceful, and may they be safe. Just sending them love and kindness. And then bringing to the forefront of your mind somebody that you've potentially had a little bit of difficulty with, a little bit of resistance or challenges with. And just visualizing them in front of you. Any sense of resistance, let yourself soften into it. And starting to send them love and kindness. And sending them love and kindness by mentally repeating the words. May they be happy, may they be peaceful, and may they be safe. And sending them love and kindness. Just allowing our own hearts to be full of love, full of light, and full of kindness. Awareness into the center of your chest. Pink or green light, as bright as you can possibly make it now. Placing both hands across the center of your chest. And then when you're ready, taking a roll onto your right hand side and just pause there. And then taking all the time that you need when you're ready, coming back up onto your mat. And back into a meditation posture. So either taking our quartz or howlite, or just letting our hand rest open and receptive on the right knee. Left hand to come back across the Anahata chakra. Taking that breath back in through the right hand, into your right arm, into chest, into the left hand. Letting the left hand send it back through the heart, back through body, back through right arm, and back out of the right palm. Receptive on the inhale. And giving and providing on the exhale. And then bringing your hands into the center of your chest. Mentally repeating our affirmation 3 times, whether we have that on a card this evening, or whether we simply repeat the words, I am love. Take a big deep breath in through your nose. Exhale and let yourself sigh it out. So all of the love and the compassion in me welcomes and celebrates and acknowledges all of the love and compassion in you. Namaste. So I hope you enjoyed our third practice, our Anahata practice. Open through your chest, open through your heart center. So let yourself feel really soft into that this evening. So if you do have some rose water, it's actually quite easy to get hold of as well. You can make yourself a lovely rose tea, and then anything pink, anything green, let yourself rest with that tonight. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I will see you all very, very soon.